Hey Mart, this is Josh here at Option Sizzle, and I got to make this video for you so I can answer your question. This is a little bit difficult to be able to explain. So what I want to share with you is that, first of all, we have to understand the risk that's involved in a naked put. There's two ways I view the marketplace. There's indices and then there's stocks. Stocks have different risk, and indices have and eliminate a lot of the risks that stocks have, like binary events, surprise downgrades, things of that sort, investigations that could draw down the stock and are also getting bought out. So, obviously getting bought out, it's not going to hurt the stock if you have a sold put, but these are things that we have to understand when you are in stocks and you're selling naked options, and this is why it's not at times advantageous, depending on what option put you're selling and how much the price of the stock is underlying. So the first thought is, obviously when we sell a put, what are we looking for it to do? There's two different ways. We are looking to either get put the shares, which is not a bad thing, because the thing that we would do on getting put shares or getting put the stock is we would sell calls against it until we got out of break even or made some money out of it. So maybe you want to get into the stock, maybe you don't. But if you're putting on a position that is short puts, then you have to understand that is the risk. Also, understanding you have to manage the risk at the entry of your position, meaning that you have to understand that there is that risk that something could happen. And you don't want to obviously have your whole portfolio or a lot of capital tied into it. So when we look at it and view it as two different ways, stocks and indices, obviously there's two different ways. Now with stocks work a little bit differently. There could be a binary event that could really just devastate that stock. The likelihood is that it eventually pauses out, but that implied volatility would mean that it's much rich, or it's more expensive. So ultimately you would have to roll that position down, because now you're taking advantage of that high premium. Also, you would want to sell the put that is at that closest strike or just at the money as well, and position it that way so you create the strangle. Obviously, it's one is getting tested. So when you put on something like that, there's only one side that's going to be tested. So when you're putting on a naked put, depending on the price of it, it actually kind of makes sense to put on the other side or put something else on the other side, because the margin that is required for that. It's different for an IRA compared to a traditional margin account, but keep in mind on those. So going into a credit spread wouldn't be advantageous at that point, because it's went through your strike, and then you're not getting as much, you're not taking in as much as you should. With indices, those work a little bit differently as well, but it's the same thing. And what I mean is that the markets move kind of in a fluid position, or in a fluid motion, and stocks can have something that craters them, or has something that gets them bought out. So you would look to do and get aggressive by selling closer and very near at the money contracts to try to recoup that, and from there it's just managing the position and trying to regroup it, and also understanding that maybe just, hey, scratch that trade. So hopefully that really helps you. I mean, obviously you want to manage that position before this occurs. Now, obviously on a stock, if there's some kind of gap lower and it goes through there, it's only management after that scenario. But typically you want to manage the positions before then, and that's why I specifically focus in on doing those kind of strategies, or using that on more spreads and things of that sort, where you eliminate a lot of those risks. And that's where that SPX method comes into play, and that's what we really focus in on and talk about. So hopefully that answers your question, and if you have any more, feel free to leave them here, and we'll be able to answer them for you.